Hi, yes, you're back on with the Pink Link podcast. And before you even touch that dial, don't forget to touch that subscribe, like, and comment and share button. Support your girl. And this week is another great episode with the King of Cobb County. So tune in now to see why he's the King of Cobb County. Thank you once again. Blessings on blessings.
Well, good afternoon to you. And it must be Wednesday because it's another drop of the Pink Link podcast where we have powerful, innovative, next level conversations with a K. Yes. And so I ain't going to do the choo-choo. I got to get some. I already said it. I'm looking for a choo-choo sound instead of me having to do it because it's just like, I don't know, but I can do it one time for the one time. Choo-choo. And so today we have with us the King of Cobb County, and he's going to tell you why he's the King of Cobb County. So I'm going to turn it over to you, King of Cobb.
Thank you, Marquita. I am your Cobb County real estate expert advisor, Ephraim Abdullah, and I help families build wealth through home ownership, real estate investing, and debt conversion.
Wow. Okay. You said you help families build real estate wealth through real estate and
home ownership.
Okay, home ownership and debt conversion.
Real estate investing and debt conversion.
Oh, wow. Okay. Take it one
step. That's a
lot. Debt conversion part. But I want to focus on, the real estate first. So
okay.
I call you King of Cobb County, but does that mean you just only service Cobb County area when you're, providing your services?
That's a good question. A lot of people ask that question. It does not mean that I'm only in Cobb County. That's where I live. That's where I'm active. I specialize. I know this area like the back of my hand, but I'm licensed for the whole state of Georgia. And generally I work throughout the metro Atlanta area. Okay.
Oh.
So yeah, I can help somebody buy or sell real estate, whether that's a house, land, a commercial building, anything, anywhere in the state of Georgia, but mostly Atlanta metro area and specifically specializing in Cobb County, which is a suburb of Atlanta.
Amazing. Man, Cobb County too. Like I see you, we here.
Absolutely.
Yes. So how does one, prepare themselves to be able to, get with you to purchase their first home like myself, making out this list with the credit I know has to be done. So what else do I need to do?
Well, you're right. One of the first things is getting your credit together. Yeah, that's always important. And that's a challenge that a lot of people run into when they're trying to buy their first home in particular. Some people debate whether or not you should get your credit together first, or you should contact an agent first, you contact the lender. I always tell people it's probably best to get in contact with a realtor that you either you know already, like and trust, or someone that you've been referred to that you got some type of connection with that person that that they're going to be one, that they're professional, that they're full-time, that this is what they do for a living, and that person generally is a resource, right? So I consider myself a resource. So I can connect you with the right people that you need to be connected to be able to find out where you stand credit-wise. And if there's some work that needs to be done, put you in contact with the right people to be able to work on that credit, whatever the situation is, whether your credit score is too low, whether you need to maybe just pay off a few debts, or whatever the situation may be. So my first suggestion is to get with the real estate professional. That's a resource that has the other resources that they can connect you with to get you started off on the right track.
Okay. So is that a realtor you maybe can just look up, or, it's best to have a recommendation for this realtor so you can make sure that, it's in?
Good question. I prefer referrals. I don't know about you, but if somebody I know has done business with somebody else and they vouch for that person, they were satisfied with the product or service that the person provided, then I prefer to go with that. Of course, you can always look up somebody online. You can look at reviews, whatever. But just me personally, I like to go with the personal referrals.
And if I'm not mistaken, because I was just looking into some stuff, my lighting went out. But don't some banks like have lender referrals? I mean, realtor referrals.
Some do from time to time. They'll have relationships with a realtor that they'll refer if you come in without a realtor. Most don't. So it kind of usually goes, some people will go to the lender first, go to a bank first to see what they qualify for. But like I said, it's a debate. It's really a preference issue. Either the realtor first or the lender first. The right realtor can connect you to the right lender and get you started on the right track. So the reason I prefer referrals, one, is somebody you know has already done business with this person, right? They're satisfied with the job that person did. So then that gives you a level of comfort that you don't have just going in blindly with someone that you don't know personally, you haven't done business with, and no one that you know has done business with, right? Mm-hmm. So with the right realtor, they'll already be connected to a lender that they know and trust, that they've worked with. Like I have a couple of lenders that I work with. And I know when I send somebody to one of those lenders, they're going to be taken good care of. They're going to tell them exactly what they need to know to get in position to be able to buy. Now, if I just pick a lender out of the blue, I don't know how long this person's been in business. I don't know if they're really skilled at what they do, if they understand the different types of loan products really well, and what's their level of customer service? How are they going to treat somebody when I send them to them, right? Are they going to be responsive? Are they going to answer their phone? Are they going to be willing to answer 10, 15, 20 questions if somebody has that many questions? You know, I need to know that. I need to know when I send somebody somewhere, they're going to be well taken care of. And you can't really get that just picking somebody out, off the internet.
Well, I'm glad we're having this conversation because it seems that's very important instead of Googling the realtor, in the area. So very informative conversation, even though I already know a realtor, King of Cobb. And so I want to kind of go over that debt conversion because some of this stuff is foreign to me because I'm a renter. So what is that debt conversion?
Only for the time being.
Right. Temporarily renter.
Temporarily, exactly. Debt conversion. Well, really, that's a whole show on its own. But basically, I'm connected with some other good people. Like I said, your realtor should be a resource, right? So I'm connected with some really good people that have a product that allows you to eliminate the interest, as much interest as possible on your current debt without refinancing or loan consolidation. And generally speaking, in half, 2/3 to half the time that it would normally take you, and it's only using your current income. So I can't really go into too much detail about it, but generally speaking, that's what it is. So they help you get out of debt fast, saving you a ton of money in interest, and not without you having to change your lifestyle or go get a second job or a third job or whatever. Using the income that you currently have, they can help you do that.
Okay, that sounds amazing. So you have something that you offer for, providing more information on debt conversion?
I can connect you if you're more interested in that. I can put you in contact with the right people. So You contact me, like I said, I'm the resource. You contact me and I get you in contact with the right people that you need. Because some people may not need that with their current position where they are right now. So if you have, let's say student loan debt, car loans, even a mortgage right now, typically speaking, with the average income, this company can get you out of those debts, all of those debts within as little as 7 to 10 years. It varies from person to person. Everybody's situation is different, but I've seen some really, really, really good results with them. So yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of goes with the next question I wanted to ask you with the, what is the best mortgage rate? I hear these different things about 15-year fixed mortgage, 30-year, kind of goes with that, like paying your mortgage off early so you won't be, retired or, and still having to worry about a mortgage.
Right. Yeah, typically the lower the term, the better the interest rate is going to be. So on a 15-year mortgage or a 20-year mortgage, let's say, your interest rate is going to be lower than it is on a 30-year mortgage. And in a 15-year, it's lower than that, and a 10, so on and so forth. So it all boils down to what you're able to afford as far as payment wise. I always tell people, if you can afford it, if your payment is where you can handle it, you always go for the lower term, right? The shorter term. So if you can only afford a payment at a 30-year mortgage, then that's cool, because that payment is probably going to be lower than what you're paying in rent anyway, right? But if you can go up a little bit in payment, it helps you to look at a shorter term, so a 20 or a 15-year. And I have a lot of people that are really interested in those shorter terms these days. I mean, just because interest rates in general are super low right now, but those shorter terms are even lower.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So with the longer, if you were to opt for the 30-year stage, can't you pay extra towards that mortgage to bring it down sooner or something of that nature? Like I say, I haven't bought a home yet. Let me watch how I speak on.
Let's say yet.
Huh?
We're just gonna keep saying yet. Yeah, you haven't got one yet, but you will.
Right. So it's coming.
It's coming.
Say for instance, once I get my 30-year, if I was to opt for me a 30-year mortgage, can I pay extra monthly, without having to worry about paying extra monthly to bring it down sooner? Did you get that? Say
it again. I thought you were asking one. Are you asking, could you pay extra monthly to bring the amount down, the principal amount? Okay. Right. Yeah. You could always. Well, I won't say always, because some lenders they have it set up differently. So some lenders actually will penalize you for paying off your mortgage early. And usually that's something you would have to just, be clear on with the mortgage lender that you get, and just be clear on that situation. But generally speaking, yeah, you can put extra per month towards your principal, and that will save you money in the long run, because you're paying down your principal sooner, and that means you're paying less interest.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I asked that question, because I know with certain loans, it's different terms, and they like, no, we keep you them 30 years. So, what are the benefits? What are like 3 benefits or purchasing your home and being, that homeowner besides renting, like I've been doing? Okay,
well, great question. So the number one benefit, in my opinion, and this is all subjective, so the number one benefit, in my opinion, is having a sense of ownership, right? They say owning a home is the American dream, right? So when you are buying your own home, it's a different feeling that you have, that this is where I own. I have a sense of pride in it. I can, do it however I want. I can paint the walls whatever color I want. I can do whatever upgrades and improvements on it that I want. And it's only adding to the value of that home, right? Whereas when you're renting, you can do different things. You're restricted as to what you can do, all right? You're not paying towards ownership. You're paying for the space to live, but at the end of the day, when you leave that space, you don't have anything, you don't get any return from that. All right. So that's the biggest thing for me. You just get that ownership, and it adds to your net worth, basically. The average, so that leads into the second part, the net worth piece, the building of wealth, which is what I talk about, helping families build wealth through home ownership. How does that happen? One of the main ways it happens is through appreciation of the property, right? So over the time that you live in a home, if you're purchasing it, it's generally speaking going to increase in value. And at the same time, you're going to be paying down the loan amount that you owe. So you're going to be basically building a savings account just by living there.
Wow.
So let's say, and the average homeowner's net worth is about 107, I think now it's close to $200,000, whereas the average renter's net worth is about $17,000. So about 10 times more, a little bit more than 10 times what the average renter's home net worth is. And that's just because the equity that builds up, that grows in that home over time, with the combination of you paying down the principal and appreciation of value going up, right? The probably the third biggest benefit to owning is your payments are pretty stable. Now you tell me, I've rented too, and when I was renting, they go up on the rent every year.
Yes.
Is that still the case with you right now?
But not in the house, but in the apartments, they actually was going, like, they go up yearly.
Right. So if you rent a house from somebody, you might get a good landlord and they don't go up every year. They may go up every other year or so, but they want to keep you there because they want to keep you paying that. You're basically paying their mortgage and then giving them some extra, which is the profit for them. Right. So they have incentive to maybe keep that rent stable for you so you won't go anywhere. But generally speaking, especially in apartments, like you said, that rent goes up every year. So I start off paying one amount, and then 2-3 years down the road, I'm paying, maybe $200 more. And if my income hasn't gone up, then that's putting a strain on me, right? I'm paying more for the same space. Whereas if I own, then I'm paying the same. My payment's not going to go. If you get a fixed rate mortgage, which most people get, your payment is going to stay the same for the full time that you own that house, right? So that gives you a greater sense of stability as well. You don't have to go find another place when this one gets a little too expensive. You know what I mean? Right. So that's probably, for me, that's the top three.
Well, all three were very, very awesome. The reason why I'm on my home buying journey. Yes, home, I welcome you. So I think great points. So in that, how would you say, I lost my train of thought. It was something else I was going to say. But in that, what is the biggest kick you get out of selling someone their new home? Like, what is in that for you when you do that?
Well, aside from the check, it's fun it's fun to be a part of the process, really. I get to see, this is for most people, buying a home is the biggest investment they're ever going to make. And there's some conversation about whether it's an asset or a liability. And it depends on how you look at it. It depends on what you do with it. But anyway, it's the biggest investment that most people are ever going to make. And so that's a big deal. And it's also a place where memories are going to be made. This is where children are possibly going to be born. If it's a young couple, they're just starting off. And, they're going to celebrate holidays, and they're going to celebrate birthdays, and they're going to have all types of things that happen in this home. So I get to be a part of that journey and putting them in a place that they love. People want to find a space where they feel comfortable and they can fall in love with, and they feel good about creating those memories over time. So it feels good to be a part of that process. And I make friends with my clients. So right now I have a young lady that I help. She bought a house 7 years ago and did great with it. She sold that house and bought a new house, upgraded, upsized and everything. And we found the perfect home for her. And she was just so ecstatic. She has 3 daughters and they're loving it. So, I've been still in contact with her. Actually, I'm going to be doing a housewarming party for her in January. Yeah. So, yeah. And her dad referred her to me because I helped he and his wife buy a house last year? Yeah, last year, first part of last year. Wow. And so we've been in contact still the whole time. And, it's just like, adding people to just relationship building. I'm going out to lunch with her dad this week just to catch up and see what's going on. So I have, several relationships like that with people that I've helped buy and sell homes. And, like I said, it's just cool being a part of that whole process and the journey.
Right. Because that's like an intimate part, purchasing your home and, just being able to extend trust in the person who's going to help you make this big purchase. So
right.
I think it has, more so on a more, relationship basis than just, oh, let me help you get this home, let me get paid. But it's more to it for you than that.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Of course, the paid part is good for my family because I still have to live and put food on the table. But it is so much more because you're like you said, it's an intimate process and you're involved with the family through the whole process. And it's something that could take, up to, in some instances, several months. So I could be working with, like the young lady I'm talking about, we were working together I first made contact with her probably March or April this year. And we just closed on her new house in October.
Okay.
So yeah, we're still in November. So last month, yeah. We just closed on it last month. And so that was a pretty good process. So over that time period, we had a ton of conversations. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff, with the process of getting her house ready, getting her ready as far as credit wise to be able to buy, also getting her the home that she was living in ready to sell it, getting it in the right condition and getting everything together to make that process go as smooth as possible. And then moving on to finding her the right home, new house, and getting her into that. So it was a several month process.
And that sounds great. And I want to go back when you said that she was upgrading, like she purchased a home. So sometimes that first home may not be your dream home, but it's like she went after her second home, which is the more dream home for her. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I tell people that are starting off and they're looking for their first home. Your first home, excuse me, the average person is going to buy 3 to 5 homes in their lifetime, right? We're not like back in the day when, I know my grandparents, they stayed in one house for 50, 60 years and that was it. They just didn't go anywhere. But they bought the land, they built the house and all that stuff. People aren't doing that so much these days, right? So typically speaking, somebody will buy a starter home, either they're a young couple or a single person or, with a couple of kids, no kids. They're buying something that's suitable for them at that stage of life. They don't need a huge house. They need, a couple of bedrooms, bathroom. And, they're typically early in their career or something like that. And that they can't afford, a whole lot of monthly payment. So they'll get a starter home. And that's exactly what she did. Her kids were very young when she bought that home 7 years ago. It was affordable and it served the purpose. So fast forward 7 years later, her children are a lot older, they're bigger, they need more space, and she makes more money. So she, used the equity that had accumulated in that house over those 7 years, plus the amount she had paid down on the principal. She had a good sum of money to be able to go and look for that next house. And this is the wealth building piece that's part of it, right? So she built the equity up in that home and she was able to use some of that equity to put down on the next home, which is larger, a lot more expensive, a lot nicer house. And she was able to use some of the other equity that was left over to furnish the house, right? She bought all new furniture. She was like, I ain't taking none of this old stuff with me. I'm buying all new stuff. Man, it was really nice. I was just so proud of her.
And I haven't never met her. Like,
yeah. Yeah. So at some point in time, this house is kind of far out, and she may want to move back closer into town. So she may be buying another house in another 5, 6, 7 years, whatever. Her kids, are be grown and maybe leaving, maybe not. I don't know. But she may be in it. Yeah. So she'll be in a different phase or stage of life. And depending on what her needs are at that point in time, she may buy something else, or she may she may buy something else, but she may not sell this house. She may decide to keep it as a rental property, and that goes into the investing piece that I talked about.
Wealth building.
Right. Exactly. So all of it starts with ownership first. Right.
I mean, so informative. Like, you got me really like focused to make sure this thing happen within the next year. So that's been my goal. But this is like igniting my fire, especially here in Hustle.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, yes. So, what would you tell someone, like myself, who haven't bought a home? Like, what would you say to just get them? Well, you said so much because I'm inspired already. Like, do I need to even ask this? But what would you tell them, that either want to sell some homes or maybe just purchase their first home? You take either one you want to take.
Well, since I'm into helping them build wealth, of course, people, if they were interested in getting to this field of real estate, there's a lot of different ways you can get in. You can get in as an agent, you can get in as an investor, and there's multiple different ways you can come in with low or little or no cost to you. But since I'm into the wealth building, help people build wealth, families build wealth, I'm gonna talk about why they should own. I mean, we gave my top 3 reasons, but if you're paying rent, you can more than likely afford a mortgage payment. Typically speaking, if you get a similar size home to the one that you're renting, your mortgage is going to be less than it is than your rent. All right. So, but the things you have to get ready for is you have to work on your credit. So I'm telling my kids who are, teenagers up to, young adults, my oldest is 24, take care of your credit. Don't let that get out of hand, and don't mess up your credit. It's easier to maintain a decent credit score than it is to try to fix it once you've messed it up. All right. So that's a big thing. Don't mess your credit up at all costs, and save some money. While you're working, don't just go out and eat every weekend. Don't go to the mall every weekend shopping. Start saving up some money, and you'll be surprised. You don't have to have a ton of money. Well, I guess it depends, what is a ton to some is not a ton to others. But typically speaking, you can buy your first home with 3%, as little as 3% down. All right. So on a $200,000 home, you're talking about $6,000, which could be a lot. But if you stretch that out over time, you could save that up over time if you discipline. Right. So number one, mortgage is more than likely going to be less than the rent for a similar size space. And you're going to be paying into ownership, which is going to grow your net worth tremendously over time. And then that'll allow you to do so many other things. And we probably don't have time to get into all the different things you can do. But once you have equity in a home, you can access some of that equity to be able to invest in maybe real estate, rental property, maybe stocks, cryptocurrency, starting a business, renovating the home itself to improve the value on it. I mean, there's so many different things you can do that come along with ownership that you can't do. And if you're renting, right? You just don't have the access if you're renting.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because like I said, just breaking generational curses. But I would meet people and I'm like, how do you start this business? They'd be like, through equity, in their homes. And I'm like, okay, like, I wish I had been knew all this stuff, but what matters is that I know it today,
Right.
And it's out here so that if you've been a renter, or if you haven't had anyone to tell you, Ephraim is providing the knowledge and the resources, and so them know how they can contact you for more information on how to start their home buying process. And do you only do Georgia?
I'm only licensed in Georgia, but I'm a part of an extensive nationwide and even some, outside the country, top realtors around the country and around the world that I can more than likely, wherever you are, I can connect you with some top agents in that area to be able to help you in your home buying or selling process. But the easiest way to get a hold of me is by phone call or text. And my number is 770-800-7922. That's 770-800-7922. I typically answer my phone. And if I don't, I'll return the call, especially if you leave a message or send me a text message. I respond to all messages. I can also be reached on social media. You can reach me at Ephraim Sales ATL. That's EPHRAIM SELLS ATL on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and what else? Twitter. I got a couple of videos on TikTok. I get a lot. I'm not dancing. I do not dance. I get a lot of love on TikTok though.
That's amazing. I mean, with all the knowledge you have about the process, I'm sure you do.
Yeah. I get, pretty good bit of love on TikTok.
Okay, y'all.
Surprisingly, I was like, well, TikTok, what? Okay, but I did it, and yeah.
And I want to also drop his information in the description box. But before I let you go, I mean, how many more properties do you plan to sell in the next 3 years, or what do you plan to be, Ephraim, in the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years. My goal next year is to sell 50.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to help 50 families buy and or sell next year. You're going to be one of them. Yep. So I'm going to help 50, maybe not 50, because sometimes, like with the young lady I was referencing earlier, she sold and bought. So that's 2 sales, but only 1 client. Right. So I may not be helping 50 families per se. I may only be helping 30 or 40, but
exactly.
Right. 50 transactions is the goal, and to help people really just understand. My objective is to help people understand the power that they have when owning a home. Because some see it as, I just need to get something to live in, to put a roof over my head, and have a space for my family. But it can be so much more than that. And that goes into the whole discussion about whether a home is an asset or a liability. It's a liability if you're just using it as a place, as a roof over your head, and you're paying the bills every month. Even though it does accumulate, the equity grows and you do grow your wealth, your net worth, but that could be considered a liability. Where it can be an asset is if you are able to take some of that equity out and use it for some of those other things, like we said, investing in, rental property,
instead of just
stocks and all that.
Invest it so it can grow, and then that can grow, and that's where the wealth building comes.
Exactly.
Wow. So I mean, such an amazing resourceful interview once again with Mr. Ephraim here, King of Cobb County. I have to just throw that in there. And so
King of Cobb County.
So I want to leave you out with this again today. You are what you think. If you're thinking negative, you're going to reap more negative. You're going to be negative. But guess what? When you think positive, you reap more positive, and you show up more positive. So you choose which one you're going to do. Get your mind right, because those thoughts are powerful.
That's right.
Are what you think. Just like you are what you eat. And one more thing, that also plays along with your thoughts. So I just have to let you know that as well. And tap in with myself on Instagram at Marquita Vion. And once again, with Ephraim at Ephraim Sales ATL. And everything will be dropped in the description box below. Blessings on blessings to you, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.